Hello everyone, Martin here. Welcome to the Inner Loop. Happy New Year to you. Happy 2021. I wanted to talk to you about my Christmas presents. So this year I decided to take matters into my own hands and buy the things that I wanted. So I made a couple of orders and here they are. So I wrapped these up and then I've just really done nothing with them since Christmas. So been itching to make this video, then I can unbox them, I can tell you what the ideas are, and then off we go. So two parcels, one from the Pie Hut, this one, and one from Radio Spares Components. So should we do the Pie Hut first? Put Radio Spares over there. So from the Pie Hut, I have bought, so exciting, so some of those little screws, you know, for holding the Raspberry Pi down. Breadboard. Raspberry Pi camera. Raspberry Pi Zero. And some of those jump out wires, breaker wires. So the idea with this lot is to take the original plinth idea, which I had was with the analog to digital converter, and try and make a box with a camera on it and some other components with four inputs: temperature, magnetic field, some other stuff, don't know yet. And this box will sit there, and when the temperature or magnetic field or actually anything it sees in the camera changes, it will capture a picture. So that should give me some nice interesting kind of data capture. So the idea is to build some sort of generic data capture box. So I think I'd probably initially stick it in the back of the car, and it'll just sit there overnight and take pictures of the neighbour's cat and the sunrise and that sort of thing. So the other idea with that is to gather information like magnetic fields and temperature over time, and hopefully record some kind of waveforms or sort of graphy shape things that might be interesting. So that was my first idea, and that's what kind of got me to get a Raspberry Pi Zero and a camera. So sort of a camera thing. That's idea number one. Idea number two. I love radio spares, don't you? The components are so awesome. I bought some resistors, 470 ohms. A lot of capacitors. Now, this is going to be interesting. They're, I think, 47 microfarads. Oh yeah, transistors. BJTs, bijunction transistors. I bought some NPN ones and some PNP ones. Feels like Christmas for you guys that like components, doesn't it? Some LEDs, red. 25 red LEDs. Oh, here's an interesting fellow. You can only just see it. This is a Hall effect sensor. So what this does is it measures and detects magnetic fields. So you can have like a swinging magnet and it can detect a swinging magnet or something. So that was what I was going to use to measure the magnetic field. Raspberry Pi camera. So there's enough stuff there for me to breadboard, hopefully the thermistor, Hall effect sensor, all that stuff, and make my thing. So why did you buy the LEDs, Martin? 25 of them. The idea behind the red LEDs was I was going to have a little go at one of those matrix, you know, the 3D, it's like 4x4 by 4 cubes with LEDs that light up. So that's why I bought the transistors. So the idea behind the transistors was the transistors are going to be my line drivers to drive these, to drive them off the Pi. Well, actually, I've got a few other LEDs, so it's enough to make probably a 3x3 cube. 3293, yes, 27. So I've got 25, got a couple more there. So a 3x3 cube LED thing. And the transistors will be the line drivers. And I mean, some people make matrix displays and they use the line driver LED, integrated circuits and all that. But I wanted to use some proper electronics. Okay, so that's my two ideas. One is to make this data recorder, and the other is to make the sort of 9x9, or maybe I might make a 5x5 display. So there's one more thing that puts a completely different complexion on all of this. This is my lovely digital world, thinking about making some sort of digital things. But let's put that on the side. That for a minute. Also for Christmas came this. And this. And these. And these. And these. So what have you got there, Martin? Well, here, it's like some breadboard, prototype board. Some extremely nice knobs. Some pots. Nice ones. And these. Jacks. 3.5mm jacks. So let's put all these other projects to the side for a minute and have a little rethink. This came from Gareth from P&P Modular. And I didn't think very much about this stuff. I thought that's interesting. He sent me a box. Perhaps he wants me to make him a plinth. The plinth. Perhaps he wants something like that in there. But I think this box, this is aluminium. This deserves to be done justice. This deserves some proper thinking. It deserves knobs, but it deserves something analog. So let's have a think about what I might going to be doing with it. So that's why I ended up buying NPN PNP transistors. So I was thinking they could do some sort of, this goes down there and that up there and that comes on. But we decided we don't want to do that now. Well, I'll do that, but maybe not now. What else could I do? So we've decided that this box of Gareth's is beautiful, but it's only got 4 knobs. So what we're going to put in there? Well, for me, 2 oscillators is essential. So let's have 2 oscillators, and we've got transistors now. So let's make. It's much easier to draw it than it is to solder it up. And we have some sort of capacitor across here. Goes over there, and another one here. We go here, over there somewhere. Anyway, something like that. Plus 0. I've also got these. Got quite a lot of them actually. So with these, I can make an interesting power supply. I can have a minus volts. So plus power supply, minus power supply, 3 volts each. And then we have the opposite sort of transistor. Or maybe we might even put the pot, I was thinking about this, the pot could potentially go like this. In which case it would maybe change, not the frequency, but the wavelength. Also, these capacitors, I've only got these little ones, and I've only got these quite big ones. So I'm not kind of sure what kind of range they're going to give me, but I want to be bound by these. These are the only capacitors I'm going to use. So that's capacitors. Resistors have got loads. So here we've got 2 oscillators, and these 2 points here and here does that really work? Can you see that? And here. These are going to give us some kind of output, which is sort of differential against the 0 volts in the middle here. Doing some wacky square wave. But that's 2 knobs gone already, just to listen to 2 square waves. So it occurred to me that if we're going to make this into some sort of musical instrument, we need to vary the pitch. Okay, maybe 1 knob. Maybe we can do it with 1 knob and 2 knobs. That's the pitch. But what about the envelope? And this is where, having watched Rob Scallon, if you ever watched him, he was talking to a woman called, can't remember her name, put the link below, about the Theremin. She's an expert on the Theremin. So I was thinking, what about for the envelope, coil of wire, and you get a hold of in your hand, a magnet, and you put the magnet into the wire. So in the process of shoving the magnet, you're going to generate a voltage here, a positive on the way in and negative on the way out. We've got a differential signal here. So I was thinking that the signal that we can generate from here can form some kind of envelope generator. So as you wiggle the magnet, it's got 2 capacitors here. Guess which size? Probably a transistor here as well to help. I've got to breadboard this bit out. And what that's going to do is, as you wiggle the magnet either inwards or outwards, it's going to charge these capacitors, and as these charge, it's going to let more of this signal through. So here we've got some form of interface without having to use up any more space on Gareth's box. So the more wiggling, the more of potentially each of the different wavelengths can come through, each of the different oscillators. So I guess you keep wiggling it straight in and out, you're going to get both mixed together, or if you keep pulling away or something, and the more you charge this, the louder. So there's the envelope sorted out. There's an envelope generator right there, and the capacitor, if you don't do anything, will discharge and zoom. So, and there may be some, the more you wiggle it, you can kind of add some vibrato or something. So that's that phase. Then, and this, of course, can plug in on one of those jack sockets. So let's write on the top here what we've got. Oscillator, envelope. But what do we need on the end of that? We need some filter. And I've got one really strong idea for the filter, which is, what about, filters actually consist of resistors, RCs, resistor capacitors, and they consist of LCs, which is inductors and capacitors, and various combinations of those 2 things. So what about if I have another coil of wire? This coil of wire, on the other hand, you're going to hold some chunk of ferrous metal. What that's going to do is you shove it in there, it's going to change the inductance. And if you change the inductance with an LC type filter, you can change the cutoff value and how much it reverberates and all sorts. So again here, we've got an opportunity for a filter stage, which you can just have a wire there and you plug it in. What's completely unknown, so after the filter, I'm not quite sure how it's going to work. I've got to design that yet. And then we go out to some output. This might be passive or it may be active, I'm not sure. But what happens if these two coils come together? Who knows? I mean, this is going to be start inducing currents in here, which might increase, let this more of this through, that lets more of that through, that change, this might be changing the inductance of that. So those two, I think, probably would need to be coils at opposite angles, or maybe the opportunity to bring them together and cause further chaos is all there. So simple oscillator, simple envelope generator, which is going to involve a magnet in your hand and some kind of variable inductor. That's the idea. I'm at this stage. I haven't even opened the breadboard yet. So it sounds really exciting. I'm really pumped about it, and I hope you enjoy the progress. I hope that I get somewhere with this. Awesome. So thank you very much, Gareth, P&P Modular, for giving me a whole utterly different idea.